player of this year.
Ooh. I might need to get myself an Asta face mask. They're looking pretty stylish coming through there. But yeah, another big addition to the lineup is, of course, Lanham coming through there. I mean, he just... The drafting coming out of Asta has been praised for, honestly, the past 3 months in all of the events that they've played in, whether it be the DPC, LANs, or these TI group stages. I think that's been their real strength so far, and I want to see if they're going to be able to get away with another Drow draft, because the one that I saw, like... I like to look at drafts and then guess who won without actually looking at the kill score. And I saw this one that had a Marcy, a Sven, a Drow, and a Visage, and I'm like, that draft won easily, and it stomped in about 24 minutes. So, like, that's the sort of thing that if you could just see it working in your head, most of the time it's going to work on paper. Sorry, in reality. Kind of screwed that one up there. But the matter is, it's good. They're good at drafting. That's the point I was trying to make. Please say something, Aries.
Okay, I got you. It's very nice to see as well in the break that they're, I believe, going over those replays there. We just saw it was Siamese Cat and Lennon behind him going over some laning stuff, and I think that is Monate behind Ori as well, which is speeding through replays, and I imagine Toronto, Tokyo, and Yotoro are doing the same thing as well. So this is just a nice little insight into what some of the teams are doing on their break. Of course, you want to go get a little bit of breather, maybe some water, quickly go toilet, and come back and maybe discuss how the next draft is going to shape up, and quickly some of the issues as well. You can't really dive in depth into too many, but maybe some of the laning things that could have gone a bit differently, and then get your mind clear for game 2.
I mean, I'm sure that's what they're going to be talking about on the bottom side of the map, right? Like, why did we die? Why did we give up that first blood over to Asta to make this lane that should have been a win? You drafted for the one lane, and you still did, but you drafted to crush it rather than just beat it. And I would say for XXS, the main thing that he's going to be looking at is, man, how did I die so many times down around that bottom area of the map as well? Scouting out exactly when and where that observer ward was placed to maybe help him out for next time.
Yeah, I wonder actually even if the Brood gets banned out, because you just mentioned it. Like,
can't ban it all, man. It's kind of like Nightfall with the way he's playing.
Yeah. That's very true. So what do you do? Because they dressed the Brood pretty well with their gameplay. Like, I was very, very impressed. We saw Toronto, Tokyo never left bottom. They always had a ward there. They picked him off multiple times, and it didn't matter. We see the comparison as well. Just a little bit of GPM here for XXS. Even support gold spent as well. Wow, that's when you know you're a true winner.
That was probably the sentry ward to try and get rid of that observer that expired at the time, right? So, yeah, I mean, it's important. I think they even saw, maybe even Yatoro bought a sentry ward just to unblock his own ancient camps at the early stage of that map. But I think the thing that needs to change is that when you're against these drafts, it's kind of like how a bunch of teams used to play around the Bristleback, right? Or used to play around the Superman Sven. They just target everyone that isn't that hero. Ooh. Because that's there's the ring. Okay, you were wanting to see it the other day.
Yeah, but whose hand? Well, actually, like, let me... That's a really nice ring, man.
Mm-hmm.
That is actually a really, really cool ring.
I'm going to say it's Toronto, Tokyo.
Yeah, seems like a Coke man. Are you a Coke or Pepsi man?
Neither. So,
yeah, okay.
I'm a water. I'm a hydro homie.
Good answer. Hydro homies for life. Let's go.
Gonna have a drink, actually. Cheers to that.
What type of drink?
Water.
Drink? Oh, I'm just trying to make sure I'm trying to catch you out. Can never catch you out. You're always on the ball as well. We do have our game 2 draft underway again.
Sorry. Okay. Look at all those air conditioners and like humidifiers and stuff that they've got in the rooms as well. They've just bought out a whole store of them.
Yeah, gotta make sure you're comfortable, man. Come on. You gotta be living the life in there. There's a big reason why they're now in the upper bracket. Well, now why they're starting the upper bracket, because when you're feeling good, you're playing good.
It was Yato. Damn it. But actually, maybe it's a dehumidifier. It's Singapore, after all. That's probably the most humid place I've ever been on Earth. Enjoy it, by the way, when you're going to be there in a couple of days.
Wait, what does that mean? The most humid place you've ever been? What does that mean?
Humid.
Oh, humid. I thought you said humid. I'm like, what are you saying right now?
I'm saying if you're going to Singapore and you normally put on moisturizer, don't, because you're just going to be sweating all day. The weather is your moisturizer.
Okay, very fun, very fun. That's going to be exciting to be sweating 24/7 when I go over. My flight's tomorrow. Holy. My first TI. I'm very excited.
You should be. It's a great experience to be able to be there with all the fans, and I'm sure it's going to be a great experience coming through. So, well, we're into the draft, and, well, you can try and address XXS somewhat, but the Enigma on its own isn't going to be enough, and this time around, they still didn't look to ban out a lot of that stuff that they try and pair together with it. You know, the Marcy is available, the Visage is available, the Drow, the Sven, they're all there. I want to see it. I want to see it work again. Even the Luna, actually. They could do Luna instead. That's something else that they've used, had quite a good amount of success on. And, I mean, when you consider the Pango and the Nyx, they could also just be setting up for another Lesh.
It does also quickly need to be said that this game in particular doesn't have as much importance considering that they're already seeded, Astra in upper bracket, Spirit in lower bracket. Do you want to see them try and experiment? Maybe, you know, try and address some of the meta heroes of the moment, see if they can find a weakness or come up with some strategies leading into the playoffs?
I'm just seeing if it actually does change anything for them.
10 seconds remaining.
I don't know. It's going to come down to like 5 different tiebreaker rules to see if Thunder Away can take game 2 against Beast Coast.
Yeah, true. Okay, so Spirit win, potentially there's a tie with Thunder. I have Thunder won.
No, so there's a potential for that 4-way tiebreaker for one upper bracket slot between Thunder Awaken, Team Spirit, Beast Coast, and Fnatic. If Beast Coast 2-0, so and Fnatic 2-0. So, but there's also the potential if Thunder Awaken win game 2, I don't know what the tiebreaker rules are, that they actually leapfrog Asta into 3rd, and you probably don't want to be taking on Evil Geniuses in the form that they're in right now.
No, I can't imagine either. Although you do get 2-0 by Boom, but
that's just Boom being incredibly powerful, man.
Yeah, incredibly powerful. Love to see it, doing it at the right time, forcing some tiebreakers. All right, so with this draft, Spirit back into it, Primal Beast, Crystal Maiden, and Asa now have the response as well. They won't have the Lesh Rack at the 8th. Is there something else? You know, Shadow Fiend's there, Morphling's there. What else could we potentially see? Visage is there.
I'm telling you, they got the Marcy. They
True,
could look
very
to
true.
do it. I think it's a distinct possibility. One of those heroes that could just have a pretty good time against the CM. If you're getting in range for the Frostbite, you're probably going to die, and that's really the only damage over time that you're going to have against this. You're incredibly squishy against a Marcy lane as well. There is a little bit of an issue with the Primal Beast if he just dives into the middle of you, but I still think you can make it work. They've picked... okay, Shadow Fiend, it's busted too, so why not? They've made it work with a Drow. They picked into a Storm Spirit, and I think this was against...
You feel like they could be considering?
Is going to go, right? Because that's the thing that needs to address the Shadow Fiend. I don't think they're going to... They're not going to Doom again, because kind of like what we saw earlier today with Spirit playing, you can Doom the Shadow Fiend, but as long as he's got the right-click damage to be able to just pair together with a Marcy sidekick, then you've got the lifesteal, you've got plenty of ways to just sustain through that and not really care all that much. So I think you probably still want to keep the flex on the Primal Beast. It's just, do you need extra jump? Do you need more burst damage? Do you need more lockdown for this SF? I don't know. It just seems like one of the strongest heroes of the tournament right now. Do you try and outrange it? That's been one of the traditional counters to it, right? The Sniper, the Drow, they've been removed. Could they even look to get rid of the Lina now?
It's so tricky because this hero has an incredible lane, farms fast, takes objectives, has a good mid game, and has a good late game as well. Great talent. So it's like, how do you look to have a timing advantage over him? Like, it's very, very difficult. I think really the one big thing is that he's very vulnerable to people rotating and having multiple people in his face early on. If you can slow him down and kill him a couple times in the lane and get some objectives and then make it very difficult for him to be able to catch up, he can still farm very fast, but if you're that far behind off a couple of kills, then I think that is a good place to start.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, you just got to try and punish him. But you remember, you're coming up against Asta. This is a team where they really prioritize position 5 as that saving support. So who knows what could be coming out here. Maybe they can venture down the path of the Shadow Demon again. Never mind, it's been banned. You could look to Omni Knight. It's something that Siamese Cat loves to play. You could Dazzle, even though we haven't had as much of it being prevalent. But again, minus armor with a Shadow Fiend doesn't feel too bad. Even just against the Primal Beast as well. You know, you really need to commit with the Onslaught there to get in on top of the Dazzle. If not, you could just get those small little trades with the Poison Touch in lane.
Phoenix is a very interesting ban. I wonder if they're going to go for... I wonder if they do Tiny here. Or like another Strength hero.
10 seconds remaining.
I'm trying to think why.
Yeah, I think it's protecting what they're going to pick up, maybe.
Sure.
I have to imagine that's a big reason why.
I quite like the Tusk. I think it's being undervalued right now, even just for the BKB piercing disable. I think that's going to be huge, especially when you go up against this Shadow Fiend, right? I wanted burst. It provides you a bit of save, but it hasn't really been the tournament of the saving Tusk style. You know, it's been much more about that individual pickoff, right? Using the Blink Dagger to be a little bit more aggressive around the map. Find that instant stun to chain it together with the rest of the team.
The big Tusk enjoyer, so...
They could Jakiro here. Jakiro into a Tusk feels really good. Jakiro against a Primal Beast feels not too bad. Of course, you've got pretty bad turn rate and you're kind of slow, but if you're able to just land those stuns, again, CM, another one of those heroes that just needs to stand in place to use her ultimate, so Ice Path, Macro Pyre, really effective against that.
What are you looking to potentially pair the Jakiro with if you're going down that route? Probably looking for your XXS hero, I imagine?
Possibly, but I think you could still just run it as a position 5. Like, 2 ranged is normally a bit but okay, Oracle. Instead, the direct counter to the Primal Beast there. And, well, wouldn't you know it? The old Broodmother coming through. All right, well, they've got the CM lane again. What do they feel is going to be able to deal with this Brood? And have they been able to use that time looking into the replays to discover what went wrong when they gave up that first blood?
10 seconds remaining.
You really could just go back into the troll if you want to here for Spirit. Oracle could be a bit of an issue, like saving supports are always annoying versus a troll who's very heavy committal, but
yeah,
I think regardless you need to shut the Brood down in the lane, so just having a strong laning carry is nice.
But you can't fight at all until you get the BKB, right? And even then, you could still use the false promise coming through, but if you fight beforehand, just the Fate's Edict's going to disarm you, and there's nothing that you can do about it. They're still going to go down that route. I understand why. They just want to dumpster the lane, but see if Asta look to change anything up to make sure that doesn't happen. It's almost definitely going to be this Broodmother paired together with the Marcy this time around, just because the Oracle needs to be in the Primal Beast lane. That's why you've picked it. But I still think they're in an avenue to win the lane very handedly again on Team Spirit.
10 seconds remaining.
Respecting the puck as well. Toronto Tokyo played an amazing game in game number 1 and did do a good job of dealing with all those spiderlings. Still wasn't enough though, so they can make it even harder. That makes your life much easier, and yeah, it really did feel like the Razor hindered a lot of the impact coming through from Team Spirit. What is left?
So you need
Bloodseeker, maybe?
Yeah, that's a great call. I was just going to say, I think you really need someone to kite the troll.
10 seconds remaining.
Your Shadow Fiend can like address your late game, like win condition, but you need a way really to shut down the your Toro troll.
You think they're considering an OD here?
I didn't mention it because it's like, I guess you can play the Shadow Fiend 1.
I think Shadow Fiend 1 is fine when you've got an Oracle to play with, because the only thing you're really worried about is the trample.
I think you can even make an argument for OD being 1, just because there will be a lot of value with it in a game like this against the troll, and potentially the lane versus Primal Beast could be okay, just with the Astral. And if you're also pairing with the Oracle, like if you truly believe this is your lane counter versus the Primal Beast, then you can get a little bit greedy with the OD pick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, OD or Bloodseeker. That's my decision for Asta. Let's see which one or another that Team Spirit are potentially thinking of. And what are they looking to take away from them? Just these heroes that are able to A, push out lanes, B, be strong at team fight, and C, able to open up the map with some pushing potential. That is the one area that Team Spirit have really been lacking, hasn't it? Always with these collapse heroes, he might play exceptional on them, but not as capable of being able to play a lot of that pushing style that really does seem to dominate this meta from the off lane.
Yeah, I still really like the Bloodseeker. Oracle Blood's a pretty decent lane pairing as well.
Yep.
Just Fortune's End for the Blood Right, nothing too crazy. A lot of value with the Rupture. Again, you don't need a whole lot. They go tiny, so all right, we got Shadow Fiend 1, looks like, unless they get crazy with it, Shadow Fiend 1, or he's got an incredible tiny. Is Conquer there? Can Conquer?
I still, you don't want to run this Primal into the Oracle lane. That's the issue. So I feel like they're picking up Collapse's hero right now.
Do you think there's a potential for them to aggro? Oh, we don't have long. I think they could aggro depending on what the pick's going to be. Okay, so we got a Zeus. So we see the mid lane. Now with your issue about the Primal Beast into the Oracle, do you think you can go Primal Beast into Brood lane and run aggro from Spirit?
They're going to need to do something creative. What I do like about this Zeus, though, is you're going to get vision. And you're going to get vision onto Siamese Cat. That is the most important part of all of these team fights, because that's just going to enable Collapse entirely. So he's going to need to be really active on his use of the Fate's Edict for himself to be able to withstand all of that damage coming in onto the backlines from Collapse, getting the charge in. But you really don't have anyone else that's going to be able to connect quite quickly. You know, Mira, of course, playing the Tusk, but it's a little bit slow, right? Maybe you just get turned around upon, and the gank attempt isn't all that effective. How many teams are there that it almost always seems like the position 5 is priority number 1? Like, Astra is absolutely one of them.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, you always go for these supports where he has an incredible amount of impact, and can we mention in the previous game, but he likes being the slippery fire that he can never be caught. So you mentioned the value that the Zeus can provide in regards to the vision. I think also there were some damage issues in the previous game where Puck can kind of help out. Even you have a good game, though, it can be very difficult to have that burst potential. Now, Zeus definitely provides that. Do you think there is a concern, though, that Zeus, compared to Puck, doesn't particularly deal with the Broodmother as easily, whereas Puck can jump in, full combo, deals with the Spiderlings, and then it can get out, whereas for Zeus, you need a couple Arc Lightning, then all of a sudden maybe you bait the Spiderlings, and then Tiny jumps and Marcy jumps. Do you think there could be a bit more of a difference with how Spirit can address XXS in this game?
Yeah, it's going to be a bit of an issue, isn't it? I mean, it does provide you a lot of ability to play around a spider that might be roaming around in the trees a bit more, just with the lightning bolt on the ground. I almost wonder if Team Spirit are wanting to take this one super late, right? Because they're not worried about a Razor scaling into the... Dagger, and even with the Aghanim Scepter, I feel like they can still make a pretty decent shot of it.
ที่ฉันได้ครองหัวใจของเธอไว้แต่ฉันยังคงไม่มั่นใจรู้แค่เพียงว่าเธอสำคัญเป็นสิ่งเดียวที่ฉันไม่มีวันยอมให้ใครมาแย่งไปขอให้ฉันได้เก็บไว้คนเดียวฉันจึงเป่าคาถาเพื่อให้เธอหลงไหลให้ทองที่แปะหน้าฉันทำให้เธอคลั่งไคล้จะขอความรักฉันมาผูกไว้ให้ในหัวใจเธอมีแต่ฉันจึงเป่าคาถาหลงรักให้ลืมผู้บ่าวเป็นร้อยที่มันคอยมาทักและขอให้ความรักนี้ไม่มีเสื่อ าถาที่มีจะคอยมัดใจของเธอไว้ขอให้ความรักสดใสกลัวว่าเธอจะหมดรักกันกลัวว่าใครคนนั้นจะคอยมาทำให้เธอนั้นเปลี่ยนไปฉันก็คงต้องปวดใจคนเดียวฉันจึงเป่าคาถาเพื่อให้เธอหลงไหลให้ทองที่แปะหน้าฉันทำให้เธอคลั่งไคล้ขอเอาความรักฉันมาผูกไว้ให้ในหัวใจเธอมีแต่ฉันจึงเป่าคาถาเพื่อให้เธอหลงรักให้ลืมผู้บ่าวเป็นร้อยที่มันคอยมาทักขอให้ความรักนี้ไม่มีเสื่อมคลาย
มันมีปิดไอ้ตรงนี้ไว้อ่ะ
ผมสวยคนเดียวตลอดไป
ชอบหรือเปล่าอันนี้ไม่ยินใช่ไหม
ไม่มีใครอีกแล้วที่ทำเธอหวั่นไหวอยากคอยรักฉันบางสายตาให้เธอมองมาที่ฉันคนเดียวจะได้ไหมไม่อยากให้เธอหลงรักใครนอกจากฉันนอกจากฉัน
ยาวเต้นไหนหวยอันนี้มันนักเตะมึงหอยที่กูไปเจนหวยมึงจะสมัครจริงหรือว่าสมัครอะไรเข้าไปเช็คกูจะเช็คแล้วว่าไอ้นี่กูลิงก์กูไม่ให้สมัครกี่คนไม่รู้